Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to today's reflections on this Thursday, the 5th of February 2026. We're continuing on from verse 92 in Surah al-Kahf, based on this life and leadership lessons from Surah al-Kahf, book by Professor Dr. Hassan Mohi-ud-Din Qadri. So we're discussing Dhul continued journey. And then he followed another route. Dhul continued journey. After his travels to the west and east, Dhul embarks on another journey, this time to a region situated between two natural barriers, often interpreted as mountains or impassable terrain. This demonstrates his relentless dedication to exploring and addressing the needs of people in different parts of the world. His journey symbolizes the pursuit of justice and the protection of vulnerable communities, reflecting the qualities of a righteous leader. Verse 93, until he reached the place between two barriers, he found beside them a people who could hardly understand a word, so they obviously spoke a very different language. This was an encounter with a unique community. Dhul encounters a people who are isolated and have limited communication with others. Their inability to understand his language highlights their remoteness and the challenges they face. This verse emphasizes the diversity of human communities and the importance of understanding and addressing their unique needs. Verses 94 to 95. They said, O Dhul, indeed, Gog and Magog are making trouble in the land. Should we pay a tribute, provided you build a barrier between them and us? He said, whatever my Lord has established with me is better than what you are offering. So help me with some workforce. I will build up a fortified barricade between you and them. So whatever my Lord has established me with is better than what you are offering. So help me with some workforce. I will put up a fortified barrier between you and them. So there's two aspects to this. One is the people's request. The people express concern about the corruption and destruction caused by Gog and Magog, who are described as instigators of widespread trouble. They offer to pay Dhul to construct a barrier to protect them. This reflects the desperation and recognition of Dhul. But Dhul response is interesting. He declines their offer of payment, stating that the power and resources granted to him by Allah are far superior to any material compensation. This demonstrates his humility and reliance on Allah's blessings rather than worldly gain. He requests their assistance in providing labor, showing that he values collaboration and collective effort in achieving a common goal. So, I mean, he rejects the payment, but it's interesting. He still asks for their labor. So, there's still this material requirement. It's not a case of, you can do things without the material aspect. Islam is a balance between, spirituality and the realities of what we need to do in this world. Verses 96 to 97. Bring me blocks of iron. Then when he had leveled up the space between the two top sides, he said, blow. When he had turned it into a fire, he said, bring me some molten copper and to pour over it. So they, Gog and Magog, could neither cross over nor make a tunnel through it. 1. The construction of the barrier. Dhul uses advanced engineering techniques to build a massive barrier. He gathers iron blocks, heats them until molten, and then pours molten copper over them to create an impenetrable wall. This highlights his resourcefulness, ingenuity, and ability to utilize available materials effectively. It also reflects the importance of knowledge and skill in solving complex problems. Bismillah. Now, I mean, this is particularly interesting because Dhul lived a very long time ago. And yet the Quran indicates that Dhul had access to what were at the time advanced technologies and are still impressive in some ways, even by today's standards. And two, the effectiveness of the barrier. The barrier successfully stops Gog and Magog from crossing or breaching it, providing safety and security to the people. This demonstrates the power of human effort when guided by divine support and wisdom. Verse 98. He, Dhul said, "This is a mercy from my Lord, to hold back the terrors of Gog and Magog from the people. But when my Lord's promise of the last hour comes, he will demolish this barrier and level it to the ground, or reduce it to dust particles. And my Lord's promise always comes true." 1. Acknowledgement of Allah's mercy. Dhul attributes the barrier's success to Allah's mercy, recognizing that his achievements are only possible through the divine support. This reflects his humility and gratitude. He also acknowledges that the barrier is temporary and will be destroyed when Allah's promise of the last hour is fulfilled. This serves as a reminder of the transient nature of worldly solutions and Allah's ultimate authority. This is a principle that runs throughout the Quran. And indeed, it's not only found in the Quran, you'll find it in many sacred books, that ultimately everything in this life will have an expiration date. Whatever it is, even the grandest of castles, even the pyramids, and let alone what we build today. Now, that's not a reason for us not to do these things. That's not a reason for us not to aspire and to build amazing buildings, and whether the ancient ones or modern ones, such as like the Burj Khalifa or the amazing towers that they are planning to build in Saudi Arabia. But at the same time, we have to remember that whatever we build, it will eventually come to an end. But that's not a reason not to build it. You look at the Roman buildings that they built 2,000 years ago, and they are still there to inspire us, or the pyramids. If people back then didn't build these things, or the great mosques that you find in Turkey or in Pakistan and India and other countries around the world that still serve to inspire us to this day, if people in the past hadn't been inspired to do that, then they wouldn't exist. So it's not a reason not to build these things, but we are minded to remember that everything in this life ultimately will come to an end, to return everything back to Allah. And this is to give us a modicum of humility and also a recognition of the limitations of what we can achieve as human beings and the limitations of the physical world. Even look at the planets and the stars, ultimately, all of them come into existence and all of them at some point come out of existence. They get destroyed. Stars explode and supernova, absorbing the planets around them. These things happen on scales of billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions of years, but they still happen nonetheless. 2, the promise of the last hour. The verse refers to the eventual release of Gog and Magog, which is linked to the signs of the Day of Judgment. This connects Dhul story to the broader themes of eschatology and divine decree. Verse 99. On that day, we shall let them surge like waves over one another. Later, the trumpet will be blown, and we will gather them all together. 1. The release of Gog and Magog. This verse describes the future event when Gog and Magog will be unleashed, spreading chaos and destruction. Their release is one of the major signs of the approaching Day of Judgment. The imagery of them surging like waves over one another emphasizes their overwhelming numbers and the scale of their impact. 2. The Day of Judgment. The blowing of the trumpet and the gathering of all people for the judgment highlights the ultimate accountability of all things before Allah. This serves as a reminder of the temporary nature of worldly life and the inevitability of the hereafter. Lessons from these verses. 1. Leadership and responsibility. Dhul Qarnayn's actions exemplify the qualities of a just and effective leader: resourcefulness, humility, and a commitment to protecting the vulnerable. 2. Reliance on Allah. Dhul Qarnayn's acknowledgement of Allah's mercy and his recognition of the temporary nature of his achievements teach believers to rely on Allah and remain humble in their successes. So it doesn't mean that we don't strive, but when we do strive, we remember who is granting us the success. 3. Collaboration and effort. The construction of the barrier demonstrates the importance of collaboration, knowledge, and effort in solving problems and achieving goals. 4. The transience of worldly solutions. The eventual destruction of the barrier serves as a reminder that all worldly solutions are temporary, and that ultimate justice and security comes only from Allah. 5. Eschatological reminders. The mention of Gog and Magog and the Day of Judgment reinforces the importance of preparing for the hereafter and remaining conscious of Allah's promises. Verses 92 to 99 provide profound lessons on leadership and reliance on Allah, collaboration, and the transient nature of worldly solutions. Dhul Qarnayn's construction of the barrier against Gog and Magog demonstrates the power of human effort when guided by divine wisdom, while also reminding believers of Allah's ultimate authority to utilize our resources and abilities for the greater good, to remain humble and grateful, and to always prepare for the hereafter. I'll leave it there for today, and I hope you find these videos and my other content useful. If you find this useful, please do subscribe and like, and to share these videos as well. And also there is a link on my social media channels for Buy Me a Coffee. This allows people to subscribe to this service that I am providing, and it will allow me to focus more on it and to be able to provide better content. The book that I've been reading, just as a reminder, is Life and Leadership Lessons from Surah al-Kahf by Professor Dr. Hassan Mohi-ud-Din Qadri, a very good book that I highly recommend. It was published last year, so if you haven't seen it before, this is why it is still a recent book. I look forward to the weekend. I hope you all do as well. And I wish you all a wonderful Friday, Jummah Mubarak, and also the weekend that comes after. I had to do it a little bit earlier this week because tomorrow I have some activities planned already. So yeah, I won't be able to do this tomorrow. So I thought rather than doing it late, I'd do it early this week. So I wish you all Jummah Mubarak and a wonderful weekend and a wonderful evening. And until next week, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of God be with you all.